Today we're talking about 10 unique ab exercises that aren't crunches. I don't know if you're looking for new stuff for yourself or for classes that you teach, but I'm always looking for really good ways that challenge the core, especially postpartum, that aren't just mindless crunching. I've designed this whole set. All 10 exercises will flow seamlessly one into the other. You can steal the whole set to use for yourself or a class that you teach, or you can just pick and choose whatever exercises you like. And I hope this gives you a ton of new ideas for how to work your core. So if you're ready to see 10 unique ab exercises that are not crunches, just keep watching.
Start by laying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Think of a drawstring placed around your belly button that, when pulled, tightens all of the surrounding muscles in and towards the center point. The first part of this move involves that bracing of the deep core and lifting of the pelvic floor. Hold that engagement as you move to the second part of this exercise, pushing your hands and back into the floor and allowing the legs to float to tabletop position. Try to keep your hip flexors as relaxed as possible. Relax briefly at the bottom and inhale to reset. So right here I'm showing that I'm pulling in and down. That's that imaginary drawstring. Also think of narrowing the hip bones, which is a really good mental cue, and lifting the pelvic floor or doing a little Kegel as I draw the rib cage down to meet everything in the center. Lock everything down. The next exercise begins in tabletop. Place your palms on the tops of your thighs by your knees. On your exhale, press your hands against your thighs and your thighs back against your hands as hard as you can, bracing your core and firing every deep abdominal muscle that you can connect to. Release to inhale and repeat. Don't expect to last super long in this exercise. The goal is intensity of the brace that can be adequately accompanied by your breath. Okay, hands go under the hips for the next move. This is corkscrew and one of my faves. I want you to lift your feet, but before you start throwing your legs around, I want you to really start with the drawing in and down of the lower abs first. So pull super deeply to tilt your pelvis towards your face, and then see if you can float your hips up from there. You'll lift and twist and land to one side, and then just keep alternating back and forth like you're a little mermaid. This burns so good in the lower abs and the obliques. Next move, start in a spinal twist with your knees to the left. I want you to lift your legs and bring your right hand to meet the outside of that right knee. Again, super bracing through the core to protect the low back. This is super good for those lower obliques, but it's really important that you can support your spine in this exercise. So if you have lower back pain or you're feeling a pull at all in your low back, just modify the degree of twist here. So instead of putting your knees all the way down, just set them over to the side for 45 degrees. Really pull the navel into spine and that hand to the knee on your exhale. Exercise number 5 starts again from tabletop, hands behind the knees. Tuck the chin to the chest and begin a tight articulate roll up in your upper body while simultaneously stretching your legs forward. You can absolutely use your hands here to pull slightly on the legs as you make your way up to balance on your tailbone. Roll back with the same amount of balance, precision, and control, as that eccentric or negative portion of the contraction is just as important as the concentric or positive contraction in this movement. For a more advanced variation on this exercise, just remove your hands from your legs and no support. Up and down you go. Next exercise is single leg drops. Head, neck, and shoulders are off the floor. Here we have left hand behind the left knee and the right hand behind the head. Right leg is going to slowly, with control, lower down to the floor and come back up to the ceiling. It's really important you use your abs here to stabilize the torso and the movement from your leg, and not your hip flexor or your quad. Don't let your back arch as your leg lowers to the floor. For a more advanced variation, take your hands behind your head. Pilates scissors is going to finish it out for us here on our back. I love this exercise. Head, neck, and shoulders are up to engage the upper abs, and then as you move your lower legs, your core, your low abs have to lock in tight in order to support those lower limbs. If your hamstring flexibility is not the best, go to that bent knee single leg stretch variation instead. Your focus is not moving or twisting through the torso. Flip it on over and find yourself in a forearm plank. From that plank, rotate your right hip to the floor so the toes turn to the left. You're going to gently drop your right hip to the floor, draw your core in deeply, push into your forearms, and lift the hip up, staying twisted. Continue to just drop and lift that bottom hip, maintaining scapular protraction. So that's just keeping your shoulder blades spread apart and your core engagement. Expect to feel a lot of burn in that lower abdominal region, which is a great area to access. Little bit of shoulders will accompany here, so modify on the knees if you need to. Exercise 9 will bring both sides together. From your plank, simply rotate your feet side to side, dipping each hip bone to the floor. Keep your belly button lifted to the spine in order to maintain alignment and protect your low back. I prefer to fully rotate on the feet to achieve a larger range of rotation through the waistline. But if that bothers your feet in any way, keep the balls of them down and take a smaller dip of the hips side to side. Last move. This is subtle, but holy cow, does it burn. From a forearm plank, lower your knees to the floor, keeping your toes tucked. Just contract your abs, push into your forearms, knees, and feet, and pull your belly button up to your low back. Your low back may fill out a little bit, but it shouldn't round excessively. Try to keep your hip flexors turned off. Keep contracting and lifting the abdominals up and down until you're shaking or you can no longer hold proper form. For a little more advanced variation, walk the forearms out slightly in front of your shoulders. You will have to work a little extra hard to keep the hollow body position, but it is a good challenge and a great finisher to this set.
That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got some new ideas. Stay tuned here. There will be a lot more content coming your way, and have a great day.